Yo, what's up my Yugi boys? In this video I'm going to show you a deck profile to the new Exodia deck, which is very easy, very fast paced, very cheap, and of course it's very, very strong. So yeah, enjoy this video. That's the deck profile. I managed to climb the whole ladder up to Diamond 5. Actually, the only cards you need are following. That's it. That's the core you need to play this deck. The whole strategy is to search this card somehow to bring your boss monster. The Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. This card is bonkers. It does actually everything for you. It has a bunch of effects, cannot be destroyed by an opponent's card effects. This protection effect is okay. It's not the best, but it's quite neat. But the most important effects are the following. If it battles, it gains permanently attack equal to your life points. So yeah, most of the time 8,000. It actually can't be defeated by battle. Then it is a spell trap negator. You have to keep in mind it's only negating the activation. It is not destroying the card. So if you want to get rid of permanent spell or trap cards, then you need to negate the activation of the permanent spell or trap card. If it's already on the field, then the opponent is trying to activate it. You can negate the effect, but it will stay on the field. Once per turn during the end phase, you can set one Exort or obliterate spell trap from your deck. That's the searching ability. There's a Exort trap which can board wipe your opponent. That's the second most important effect. There's one downside. During each of your standby phase, you lose 1000 LP. It's not that important, but keep that in mind that your life points are defining the attack of your boss monster. If you just bring that card out, you are a very, very good position, because that's all what this deck does. And to do so, you have a bunch of starters to get that Millennium Ankh. The Millennium Ankh you can activate if all of your Exodia pieces are either in the deck, on the field, or in your hand. Keep that in mind, because if any piece is in your graveyard or in your banished pile, then you're not able to activate the Millennium Ankh. But if it happens that your pieces are in a place where they shouldn't be, the second effect of the board wipe can recycle those cards. Anyways, you just show the pieces and you get your boss monster. After that, the spell itself gets shuffled back into the deck, and any monster which is not part of the Millennium archetype will get shuffled back from the field into the deck. That means if you have already other extra deck monsters, or you have a Exodia piece, or any monster on the field which is not a Millennium or an Exodia card with a level of 10 or higher, then it gets shuffled back. And another downside of this card is that you can't summon after the resolve of this card. So keep in mind that you first summon your monsters and set up your board. After that, in the very end, you can activate Millennium Ankh. How do we get this card? You can discard Heart of the Blue Eyes. It will search you Millennium Ankh, and has that neat removal effect that if your opponent summons a monster with level 8 or higher, or with an attack of 3k or higher, you can send that special summoned monster to the graveyard, non-targeting removal, and special summon the Heart of Blue Eyes from the graveyard. You always want to try to search your Millennium Ankh via Heart of the Blue Eyes, because usually the other Millennium monsters, one part of them are all the same. You can put them into the spell and trap zone, and then you can summon them from there to the field to search you the other cards. But to activate that effect, you either need to pay 2000 life points, or you can show Millennium Ankh from your hand. You always want to get the Millennium Ankh in the first place, so that you don't have to pay life points to activate your other Millennium monsters effects. Sengenjin can search you any Millennium monster. The Golem can search you the Temple, and the Shield of Millennium Dynasty can search you Millennium Ankh. The Temple is also a searcher for any Millennium monster. That's why we are playing the Planet Pathfinder, since you don't need your normal summon to get going. We play one Maiden of Millennium Moon because it will get your boss monster that nice extra protection of not being targetable. Yeah, that's actually it. First, get your spell, then swarm the field with Millennium monsters. Best case is to get the Millennium Moon Maiden to have it in the opponent's turn, so that if the opponent is activating anything, then you can summon it from the spell and trap zone, and your boss monster won't be targetable until the end of your opponent's turn. And yeah, if you swarm the field, you can activate Millennium Ankh. And in the end phase, you search the board wipe. The Millennium monsters also have a protection effect, but they are not that important. The most important protection effect is the one from the Golem, because it prevents your Millennium Ankh from being negated. But only the activation. The spell card and its effect can still be negated. It depends of the wording of the opponent's card. Yeah, that's the core. Maybe you can put this guy. Maybe one copy is okay, because if you are low on life points, this card can give you some life points back. But I decided to not run this card. I decided to play it like this. The most important extra deck monsters besides the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate are Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, and SP Little Knight. Maybe one time I summoned the Sky Crisis Blackluster Soldier because you swarm the field very fast and very easy. The other extra deck monsters I didn't use at all. Okay, that's it. Let's go to the replays. Yeah, I went first and I had full combo. He negated my Planet Pathfinder, but I didn't care because I had the Veget Temple already in hand. And even the Millennium Ankh, so activating the Millennium monsters effects didn't cost me any life points. He activated then the Maxi, but if you get Maxi on your Millennium monsters, then your opponent will go +1 because you really want to resolve your Millennium Ankh. So he gets to draw 2 cards, but I was like, it's okay. I still have an extra interruption via Infinite Impermanence and still get that board wipe. He actually should have Veilered the boss monster. If you're playing against that deck, Veiler the boss monster, because then he can't search for the board wipe. He tries to imperm my boss monster. Of course, you need to negate that because you still want to have that wall on your field. So he's searching for Stratos, doing some hero shenanigans. And then I decided to board wipe at this point. He's activated Fusion Destiny, but I was okay with that because he can only remove cards by destruction. So my boss monster is protected. So he went into Cross Crusader. I decided to imperm him. And he chained DPE to get rid of my field spell. Not the worst decision. And then he gave me the Dark Angel. I didn't read Dark Angel. That's why I activated Veget Temple. I lost 1k, of course. DPE came back to the field, and I tried to activate Veget Temple. Summoned the Sky Crisis to bait out the DPE pop effect, but I chained Obliterate, which I searched in the end phase of my opponent's turn. And yeah, I attacked with 7k. And I felt very confident. Searched the board wipe in the end phase. And I misclicked here. I actually wanted to activate the board wipe, but then I tried to bounce the Vian, but somehow he could chain the Vision Hero Increase, the continuous trap. He was able to chain it. I decided to negate that effect, and then he scooped. Yep. Second replay against White Forest. I won the coin toss. I went first. I saw a way to get that Millennium Ankh. I was happy. Of course, first try to get the field spell. I decided to tribute the Planet Pathfinder because 1k attack is not that much. So then I had to pay 2000 life points to get the Millennium Ankh. And yeah, bringing the Exodia boss monster out and searching the board wipe and having 2 imperms set. So I was like, okay, no way I'm going to lose this. Because I also have the White Forest deck, I know what they do. And I decided to negate the Sylvie because they need spells and traps for discard fodder. And the White Forest spells and traps, they can reset from the graveyard when they were discarded by monster effect. So I negated here. Then he activated the Deception of the Sinful Spoils. And I was like, I read the card and then I saw this line. During the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there from the spell and trap zone this turn while face up, you can set it. So I decided to negate it via my boss monster's effect because then it technically doesn't hit the field. So it can't reset it from the graveyard. Yeah, he just set 2 and passed, and then I was like, okay, just wipe the board, and he scooped. I lost a coin toss. Opponent went first, of course, and he was playing some Fiendsmith variant with Kashtira and Bestial cards. I don't know. I don't even know what the Fiendsmith cards do, so I was like, okay, let's watch and see what his end board will be. And I was happy to see the Lava Golem in hand to get rid of, yeah, some annoying quick effects. So he has the DDD Wave High King Caesar. He is something like a Omni Negate, but it can only negate effects which contain the effect of special summoning a monster. Yeah, I decided to tribute the Little Knight and the Seas monster. Some effects are triggering. And I start doing my thing. Of course, he is banishing 1 copy of my boss monster. The other extra deck cards are not that relevant. Okay. Searching Ankh. He gets rid of my Heart of the Blue Eyes in the graveyard. Was a bit annoying, but it is what it is. And then, yeah, setting up. Get the Retro Temple. And, very important, get the Maiden via the temple. And setting up the Golem. So, just in case he has some spell trap negation or a card that can negate the activation of my Millennium Ankh. Activated Millennium Ankh. Bring out the boss monster and go for a bit of damage. End phase, of course, get the wipe. I was like, okay, let's blow up the field. Just wait a bit until I can activate the Maiden of Millennium. I was afraid of the Druze Worm, so I didn't board wipe in the draw or standby phase, because then he was able to get rid of Exodia. He tries to negate Exodia, then of course I chained Exodia's effect. Maiden of the Millennium Moon hits the field and I felt very, very comfortable. I was ready to blow up the field. And that's what I did. At this point, he summoned the Bald Drake via banishing a monster, and then the Branded Regained was activating. And because of the nature of continuous spells, they need to stay on the field on resolve to get that effect. So I decided to wipe here at this point. And Drew Swarm activates and is sending the Millennium Moon Maiden. And then he's going for some Fiendsmith combos. I felt very confident, but I was, yeah, quite unsure what he's trying to establish here. Beatrice attacking my golem, Witcher Temple, puts it back to the spell and trap zone, and then he goes for Zeus. Zeus is clearing the field, no way to protect my Exodia from its effect. And yeah, I was left with an empty field, and I decided to swarm the field a bit with monsters. Since he banished my Heart of the Blue Eyes, I tried to put another Heart of the Blue Eyes into the graveyard, just in case he's summoning a strong monster. Now I thought, if I bring out my boss monster, it won't be strong enough to run over the Zeus. So I decided to do something else, to bring out another extra deck monster. And yeah, in this case it was Sky Crisis. Just returning the Sky Crisis and go for a bit of damage, but it turned out it was the wrong decision. Even if you're low on life points, it's not the worst idea to bring out the Exodia Fusion, because it still can search the board wipe. It is what it is. I decided for Sky Crisis, and he's doing some combos and ending on a monster which can negate 3 cards because of the total link rating of 3. So it was clear that I'm going to lose. I just tried, to do something, but no chance at all. He's banishing with Fenrir, and when I tried to summon the Fusion Exodia, before that I made sure that the golem is on the field, but what I mentioned before, the Millennium Ankh still can be negated. It doesn't say that it negates the activation of cards. So that was the wording which broke my neck. And then I scooped. Okay, next replay was against Dragonmaid, some Dragonmaid deck. He ashed my Planet Pathfinder, which is okay, because I don't want my Heart of the Blue Eyes to get ashed, so that's why I activated the Planet Pathfinder first. The Millennium Ankh is way more important than the field spell. So I go for Blue Eyes, and then, get a little bit of extra monsters onto the field. Of course, the Witcher Temple, just in case my Millennium monsters get destroyed, so they get back into the spell and trap zone, and then in the end, getting the Fusion Exodia and that board wipe. So I activated my Maiden of Millennium Moon. He chains the Magnamut to get rid of my Heart of the Blue Eyes. And I chained Maxi. I was like, okay, nice. Millennium Moon protects my boss monster from targeting. When he activated the fusion spell, I was like, okay, let's read the card. Using monsters from your hand or field as material. It's not a fusion spell which can banish the materials from grave. So I decided to board wipe here, because if he needs the materials on the field, then the spell card won't resolve. So I hoped that after the resolve of the board wipe, he doesn't have the right fusion materials in hand anymore for his fusion summon, but unfortunately he was able to bring out a fusion monster. Luckily that monster was not too dangerous because it had only targeting removal effects, and he went into Little Knight. I was like, okay, who cares? And yeah. In the end phase, he searched for Drew Swarm, and I searched for the board wipe. I was like, okay, I got this. Let's summon a bit. And I knew if he's going to activate Little Knight's effect, I am still able to chain the board wipe, because then he won't be able to banish my fusion monster. And then it's GG anyways. So I was like, okay. This is a win. Let's go. Let's just summon Soldier of Chaos because we can. And he has the removal effect, the archetype lacking, because usually you can only get rid of cards by destruction or by bouncing. But in this situation, I don't have the obliterate trap card, so I decided to go for Lackluster Soldier. I knew he had the Drew Swarm in hand. After destroying the Little Knight, was able to banish the Drew Swarm, and he wasn't able to send my fusion monster into the graveyard. Last replay was against Numeron. That was also the rank up match to Diamond 5. He won the coin toss and decided to go second. I was like, okay. I'm a bit afraid of kaijus, but I just did my thing. Getting out. After getting max seed, I decided just to bring out the boss monster and not overextend. I was fine with that. He decided to activate a Dark Hole. And I was like, okay, it's fine. That's a situation where the protection effect was very useful of the fusion Exodia. And when I saw the magical mallet, I was like, okay, yeah, just go -1. I'm fine with that. But then he activated the second Upstart Goblin. I had 10,000 life points. And when he activated the Pot of Desires, I was like, okay, maybe that's a very good point to negate here. And then when I saw the Numeron wall, I was like, okay, he is playing the Numeron OTK, but for the Numeron OTK, you need to attack with very low attack monsters. So I felt quite confident with my 10k life points. And when he activated the Numeron calling, I read the spell. If Numeron network is in your field zone and you control no monsters, then I thought, when I chain Exod, Fires of Rage, to wipe his board, then he no longer is controlling the Numeron network. So maybe the spell card won't resolve, but it's not like that. He was able to bring out the monsters, but yeah, because my life points are too high and my fusion monster will get too strong, he decided to go into the Link summon, Link 3, Infinite Track, Fortress Mega Clubs. Since he is unaffected by other monsters' effects, I chained to the effect of my Heart of the Blue Eyes infinite impermanence to negate the effect of Infinity Track to then get sent to the graveyard via Heart of the Blue Eyes effect. So he scooped and I reached Diamond 5. Yeah, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and see you around. Bye-bye.